Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, May 23rd, and I'm Kiki Thaxter. This week on Norwood News, the NHS seniors dressed to the nines for the Prom Red Carpet, and our living local visits a family business that engraves history one stone at a time. But first, last Friday, members of the community, along with family and friends, gathered at the Norwood Airport for the grand opening of the Tyler Lawrence Playground. I had the privilege of speaking with Tyler's mother, Remy, who shared her gratitude for this emotional day.
So, Kiki, I'm here today because we are celebrating the grand opening of the Tyler J. Lawrence Memorial Park. Today makes me feel full of joy. I feel a lot of pride. I couldn't be more proud of my son. I couldn't be more proud to live in a town like Norwood, a town that recognizes the importance of a gesture like this and recognizes the importance and value of Tyler's life.
And I just can't imagine the strength to turn tragedy, something unimaginable. I have two children and one's in the middle school now. I just can't imagine it. Just the worst thing possible. And the fact that you called and you said, I want to do something, and this is that something. It's amazing. It's just a testament to who you are and who Tyler was. I can say that we've become friends in the time since then, which is really important to me. And I don't know if some of you know, but Remy is a town meeting member now, which is amazing.
I want to thank my fellow town meeting members. I want to thank my fellow neighbors in Norwood. And I want to thank the Board of Selectmen, the Community Preservation Committee, all of Tyler's friends, our family at the Copley Middle School, and just everyone who showed up today. Thank you.
The Norwood Department of Public Works stepped up this past weekend as the annual Wings and Wheels pivoted to the DPW lot from Norwood Airport and was rebranded Touch a Truck last Saturday. Kids of all ages got a close-up look at the inside of all types of DPW vehicles, Norwood police cruisers, Norwood fire trucks, and the Norfolk County Sheriff's Mobile Command Center. This event is always a hit with the younger crowd and just might inspire the next director of DPW or the chief of police here in the town of Norwood. Norwood residents can now have their food compost picked up and hauled away thanks to a program the town offers in partnership with Black Earth Compost. Selectman Bob Donnelly and DPW Director and Town Engineer Mark Ryan explained the benefits of this program and how you can sign up.
Hello, I'm Bob Donnelly, member of the Board of Selectmen. This is Mark Ryan, Director of Public Works and Town Engineering, and we're here to talk about the Black Earth Food Composting System, curbside pickup of compost in Norwood, a pilot that we've been running since May of last year. The good news is the pilot's going well. We have over 660 participants as we speak today. Based on the volume of participants, Black Earth has discounted our volume rate for composting, which has allowed us to expand the pilot through September of this year. So we're here to just let you know that if you want to participate, there's still time to participate and there's still time to enroll. So to enroll in the program, just go to blackearth.com and type in your address, your Norwood address. It will bring you to the page on the Black Earth site. That's our partner in this pilot. They will bring you to the register sites where you'll see the information regarding how to participate in the program. As a participant, you will get a starter kit which will consist of a bucket for weekly composting. It's picked up on every Tuesday morning, and liner bags for the compost as well. So that's going to be running through September of this year. There's still room, and an additional benefit I should add, as a participant in Black Earth composting program, every spring, as long as you are still a customer of Black Earth, you'll also receive a cubic foot bag of compost, Massachusetts-made composting. Great for gardening, great for landscaping. It'll reduce your need for use fertilizers in your lawn and your garden. So Mark, I think that covers a lot of what the program itself does. I think there's some benefit to Norwood beyond the benefit to the customer regarding participation in a food composting program.
There sure is, Bob. It's been a great response from people trying to get in to the Black Earth program. Over 660 customers to date. They're very excited coming down here, picking up their food waste cart, and use it weekly, as Bob said. And the benefits are monetary and environmental. On the monetary side, approximately 25% of the waste Norwood throws away, in other communities all across the country, about 25% is food waste. Okay, so that food waste is going into our landfills, filling up our landfills. We've got a shortage of landfill space in New England and Massachusetts, so we want to try to prevent how much we throw away into those landfills. By participating in a program like this, 25% of your waste during the week is taken out of that landfill. In Norwood, that's about 1,500 tons per year, okay? And it's an enormous charge by Waste Management or any solid waste provider to pick up the regular trash per ton per year to dispose of it, collect it and dispose of it. We're talking over $460,000 is spent by the town of Norwood to dispose of food waste. And there are other options, and this is one of them. This is a great option. It really helps us environmentally as well, because landfills contribute enormous amounts of methane into the air, which is a real issue health-wise and climate change-wise. That methane is generated by the food waste decomposing in the landfill. So if we take that out, that methane production goes way down. 58% of the methane produced by a landfill is from food waste. So if we can reduce those numbers, that's great for the environment. Obviously, that's great on the town side as far as budgets, because like I said, 1,500 tons equates to about $460,000 a year we're spending. So this is something that we're doing now. It's not mandated by the state, but eventually it will be mandated, because this is a real concern, like I said, economically and environmentally. So it's great that Selectman Donnelly has spearheaded this program. It's been well received. I look forward to the Norway, contributing more and more to the food waste problem going into our landfills, and it's a win-win in so many ways, Bob.
Yes, it is. And just a note in regarding eligibility for the program, as long as you are a household in Norwood that also receives waste management pickup services for your weekly waste removal, your trash removal system and recycling, you would be eligible for the program. So again, blackearth.com, go there, go on site, enter your Norwood address. It will bring you the details about how to register. Again, September 30th is still about almost 4 months of composting that you'll be able to engage in. And you'll be contributing both beneficially to the environment and helping to reduce our trash removal costs. So all in all, a win-win for everyone.
When Norwood News returns, we take a look at a brand new Living Local. Sophia Berardinelli shares what's happening in school news, and Ron Marshalsea has the latest in sports.
On Monday, May 26th, the Memorial Day Parade will be live on the NCM Community Channel. Be sure to tune in at 10 a.m. Starting off the morning, there's a bunch of festivities going on to begin the day. Kicking off the day at 8 a.m., we have the Decorate Veterans' Graves at Highland Cemetery. At 9 a.m., lowering of the flag at Norwood Town Hall. At 9:30 a.m., the parade groups muster at Old Paris Cemetery. At 10 a.m., parade steps off, leading on Washington Street to Howard Street to Winter Street, then to Highland Cemetery. At 11 a.m., the ceremony and observances at Highland Cemetery. Be sure to tune in live on the NCM Community Channel to watch the parade, and happy Memorial Day to everybody. Thank you.
Designed to preserve a town's history, the Community Preservation Act uses special criteria to distribute funds to efforts to improve and preserve the history of Norwood. Learn how the General Manager's office used the funds to restore Memorial Hall.
Often mistaken for a cathedral, Norwood's Town Hall was erected in 1928. The 125-foot Carillon Tower and Memorial Hall classically represent Gothic architecture. The building has stood the test of time as one of Norwood's prominent landmarks. Inside, however, was another story. Just through the main entrance of the grand structure is Memorial Hall, an almost chapel-like chamber. Designed as a monument to Norwood's veterans who served, Memorial Hall proudly honors Norwood's bravest. But unfortunately, time has marched across the heavy oak furniture that was originally installed almost 100 years ago. Water damage and heavy use over the course of a century took its toll on the ornate furniture. Over several community preservation requests, the General Manager's office has been able to bring these regal furnishings back to life. The most recent set to be restored were the 38 wooden benches that were built back in 1928. The project cost about $78,000. The project was accepted by the Community Preservation Committee and approved by a simple majority at town meeting in May 2024.
A couple of years ago, we kicked off quite a bit of work here in Memorial Hall. The first phase was for the large table and chairs behind us, and that was sort of our first foray with the CPA project into preserving Memorial Hall. The table was removed from the area, as were the chairs. They were completely restored, stained, any repairs made necessary. That was step one. Step two was all of the benches that you see throughout Memorial Hall. There's more than 80 of these benches, and they were all taken out to a workshop. They were sanded down, they were stained down, repairs were made, and they were hammered back together. Now, as you can see, they're very sturdy. They were a little bit loose prior to that. The benches, as well as the table and chairs, are actually original to Memorial Hall, so they came with the building when it was built in 1928. So it's important to make sure that we restore them and that we were able to preserve them for generations in the future. We've actually seen an increase in use in Memorial Hall since we've restored all of the benches. We've also had the facilities department do some great work in the building as well, including some painting and some patching that the Memorial Hall needed when we had the benches out of here.
It is because of funds made available by the Community Preservation Act that Norwood was able to fund projects such as the Memorial Hall bench restoration.
The Community Preservation Act came about around 20 years ago, a little bit over, and not every community in Massachusetts participates, but certainly there's more than 140 communities that do. It's a surcharge on property taxes that gets spent specifically in 4 different areas, and it's matched by money from the state that comes from a surcharge on the Registry of Deeds. So every dollar that gets contributed locally by residents and businesses gets matched sometimes 20%, sometimes 30%, sometimes more by the state. So it allows us to take our local money and really magnify it by getting that match from the state that comes from a deeds excise charge that everyone pays in Norfolk County and every other county in the Commonwealth. Now, you still pay that deeds excise tax when you transact the deed, regardless of whether a community has a preservation charge. So by having the Community Preservation Act, we're able to take advantage of that pool of money.
The town continues to restore and preserve its physical history through the use of community preservation funds. As of spring 2025, the Norwood Community Preservation Fund has awarded over $4.4 million to applicants that have met the preservation requirements, almost half of which has been requested for historical preservation projects such as this. To learn more about the Community Preservation Committee or how you can get involved, visit the Town of Norwood website at www.norwoodma.gov.
The NHS class of 2025 brought the glam to last week's Prom Red Carpet, and NCM's dynamic duo Joey O'Connor and Caitlin Notebart kept the spotlight rolling as they chatted with students about their prom prep, fashion choices, and more.
What are you guys looking forward to tonight at prom?
Probably just dancing.
Yeah, JP getting it going.
Eating. I'm so hungry.
What did you guys do to get ready today?
I went to go get my hair done at Delaria. They did a great job.
They did it.
Yeah.
Nice little plug right there.
I got my hair done
Free
at
marketing.
A salon, and then I had my friend do my makeup.
I saw Grandpa, by the way. Yeah. He didn't recognize me at first, but then he did. It must be like the coaching outfit.
I went to Caldara for my hair, and then I did my makeup. And then my mom had to help me put my dress on.
It looks beautiful. You guys look
hard.
stunning. Frankie, what time are you going to stay up till?
When, tonight?
Yeah.
Whatever time I get back from post-prom.
Okay.
2?
It goes till 5 a.m.?
I'm not staying up till 5.
You're not staying up till 5. Okay.
One question I've been asking everyone, what is one song you need to hear tonight out on the dance floor?
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe like Party in the USA?
All right, little Miley Cyrus, there we go.
Oh, that's a tough one. Oh, I don't know. Like, I don't know, maybe some like Kanye West or Nicki Minaj.
Okay.
There we go, there we go.
Are you guys in TV or anything?
Yeah, a little bit.
No, I don't take TV. Never
Do you
took
know these people behind the camera?
No,
A
never,
little.
never met any of them. They're kind of, I don't know. He was calling over to me. I don't know him. I don't like him.
What is your favorite thing you're looking forward to tonight? Or I guess the thing you're looking forward to the most tonight?
Tonight I'm looking forward to post-prom and all the fun activities and hanging out with Sam.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to post-prom. I just like to dress up and then go to post-prom. That's all I'm really here for.
You look amazing today. Where are your outfits from? The dresses, tux?
I got my dress from Ultimate and Denim. Shoes are from DSW Custom.
Ooh, it's beautiful.
Okay, made by my brother. Thanks, David.
Oh, David, great
the
job.
The whole thing's from Men's Warehouse, except for the watch. That's from my dad. The rest of it, literally everything's Men's Warehouse. It was great.
During COVID, we played Wordle every day in English. Kes always got them right. What was your trick?
My trick was to use the word audio. When you use the word audio, you eliminate most of the vowels. And
Who taught you what a vowel was? Miss Conley?
Yeah. I give all my credit to Miss Conley. Thank you.
You guys look amazing in your green. Who picked out the green?
I did.
Yeah, she did.
Hannah did. Did you have any say in it, Chris?
No.
No. Okay. Fair.
That's usually the way it goes.
Fair.
I didn't have any say.
Are those Bob Grenham shoes?
These? No, we got these from Deluxe Tux.
Oh, shout out Deluxe Tux. Hannah, where's your dress from? It's beautiful.
I got it from Alexandra's in Fall River.
Oh, that was a commute. Yeah.
Not a fun one.
No, yeah. What are you looking forward to the most at prom tonight?
Taking off my shoes.
Good answer.
Eating.
Who picked out this color scheme?
It was all her.
I kind of had a feeling Angel would be the first guy to come up with the color scheme.
Yeah, I can see that.
You're
yeah,
very into
yeah.
fashion, Angel. Those shoes. What size are they?
My size.
I want them.
No.
A little too big. They're nice.
Thank you. You
You
look gorgeous yourself.
Thank you,
look
Angel. The nicest thing anyone has said to me all
I mean, I'm
night.
standing to your right, but
All night.
Big shout out right here. Where you wearing the mustard apparel?
So are you gonna drop it low like you do as the baseball catcher on the dance floor tonight?
Probably.
All right.
Probably.
What song's gonna get him out there and make him drop it low?
It has to be like a little baby song or something.
Oh, he loves Lil Baby.
She's not wrong.
And he loves Da Baby.
Very true.
He taught me the difference a couple years ago between the Da Babies. Thank you for tuning in to this year's 2025 Pre-Prom Red Carpet Ceremony.
we hope we brought you guys some good interviews. We had a lot of great answers. A lot of good music tonight. Sounds like good food, mostly chicken tenders and pizza.
Yeah.
Is the food spread.
We did miss Mel. We missed you, Mel.
We did miss Mel big time.
We hope you're watching this.
Now let's throw it over to Sophia Berardinelli for the latest in school news.
I'm Sophia Berardinelli, and let's check out what's happening in our Norwood schools. In Norwood High School news, the English language civics classes undertook an educational excursion to Boston to explore significant historical sites along the Freedom Trail and a visit to the State House. The classes learned about the American Civil War and the American Revolution. They visited the Embrace statue in the Boston Common and proceeded to the State House to learn about the important work of the Massachusetts legislature. Following the State House visit, the educational tour continued along the Freedom Trail, guided by Miss Uppenkamp. Key historical landmarks visited included the Massachusetts 54th Regiment Memorial, the Granary Burying Ground, the original site of the Boston Latin School, the Boston Massacre site, and Faneuil Hall. The day ended with a lunch picnic at the Rose Kennedy Greenway. At the Callahan School, third grade students have been working toward mastering all of their multiplication facts. Once they have completed mastering their facts, they are crowned a Master of Multiplication. The Cleveland School Spring Concert this week featured amazing solo performances, a narrated story in 3 parts, and the 5th grade transformation into a zombie band. At the Oldham School, the 4th and 5th grade students held their annual Trattoria fundraiser to raise funds for their promotion activities. They enjoyed an evening of serving families, friends, and community members. This kickoff to the promotion season is an exciting one for everyone at Oldham and was a great success. The PTO sponsored and organized an exciting enrichment experience for the grade 1 through 4 students. Kelly Ann Chickalese from the WCVB Storm team came to our school yesterday to give us an inside view of meteorology and working on a news team. At the end of her presentation, the Oldham participated in a video that will be aired on WCVB News. Thank you to the PTO. The Oldham celebrated cooperation by recognizing students who exemplified the qualities of this valuable character trait. They ended their Character Strong unit with a celebratory assembly. One student from each homeroom was selected to receive this award, and the students learned about the ways to demonstrate cooperation. In school nutrition news, the sun's out, and it's time to bring the burger buns out. This week, Norwood School Nutrition kicked off the warm weather season with its first outdoor barbecue at NHS. The weather was perfect, and students savored cheeseburgers, hot dogs, sausages, and more. All the students enjoyed the food, fun, and sunshine. Norwood School Nutrition will be hosting a barbecue every Wednesday throughout the month of May, so bring your appetite and come soak in the sun with us next week. At the Little Mustangs, there's some exciting science happening. The students are observing caterpillars thanks to our fabulous PTO. They're learning about the life cycle of a caterpillar from egg to caterpillar, chrysalis to a beautiful butterfly. The students get to watch this happen in their very own classrooms. Classes have enjoyed reading The Very Hungry Caterpillar and playing some games. In one classroom, the students learned about and painted a symmetrical butterfly. Students pretended to drink like a butterfly using their straw, just like butterflies drink nectar. We can't wait to see the butterflies emerge from their chrysalis and then set them free. Maybe they may end up in your backyard. That wraps up this week's school news. A big thank you to all the teachers who keep us in the loop with their updates. It really helps us see the wonderful things happening in our schools. Reporting from Norwood School News, I'm Sophia Berardinelli. And now, here's Ron Marshalsea with the latest in sports.
I'm Ron Marshalsea, and this is your sports update. The baseball team is now 7-12 after dropping games to Westwood and Hopkinton this week, but came out with a win on Sunday against Medway, 5-2. The Mustangs have one more game Saturday the 24th at Walpole at 1 o'clock. The softball team took down North Attleboro last Saturday morning 8-7, but lost to Westwood and Hopkinton on Monday and Tuesday. The Mustangs sit at 9-8 on the season, at number 25 in the D2 rankings as of May 20th, and according to Arbiter, they have one more game to hopefully help bump their ranking on Monday the 26th at 4 o'clock at Medway. The boys lacrosse team hosted Brookline on Monday and went to Hopkinton on Thursday, but couldn't grab the win in either game. They finished the regular season 4-12. The girls lacrosse team now sits at 9-7 at the end of the regular season, with a loss to Westwood on Monday and a big 18-8 win over Canton on Wednesday. As of writing this sports update, the Mustangs sit at number 28 in the power rankings, but hopefully they move up with that Canton win, putting them at 9-7. The boys tennis team couldn't grab wins in their final two matchups of the season, home against Medfield and at Hopkinton on Monday and Tuesday respectively. The Mustangs finished the season with a 4-12 record. The girls tennis team lost to Westwood on Monday, but finished the season strong as they took down Ashland 5-0 in their final match of the season, finishing up with a 2-14 record. The boys volleyball team lost to Norton on Monday and Medfield on Thursday, but had a massive 3-0 win over Walpole on senior night on Wednesday. Seniors Mateo Diaz, Xavier Watkins, and Sebastian Eugene were celebrated and recognized, and then they led the Mustangs to a dominant victory over the Timberwolves on the Nolette Johnson court. The volleyball team finishes the 2025 season with a 5-12 record. The TVL track meet was held Monday afternoon in Norton, where quite a few athletes set personal records. The girls 4x100 ran their fastest time of the season, Bridget Flynn ran the mile in 5 minutes and 31 seconds, and senior Natalie Martin is still breaking records, this time 2 of them, her own 1-mile record at 5 minutes and 9 seconds, and beat the previous 2-mile record by 4 seconds. Kieran Gorman also qualified for divisionals in the 800. And that is all I have for this sports update. I'm Ron Marshalsea, and Norwood News will be right back after this break.
No more Cape traffic and ferry schedules if you're planning a trip to the islands. Cape Air is officially coming to Norwood Airport. Unanimously approved by the Airport Commission at their last meeting, Cape Air will now operate out of Norwood. The Hyannis-based company gave a brief presentation of their operation and what the plan is for flying out of Norwood.
And really, we see the potential to be able to carry a significant amount of traffic from Norwood to the islands. And we know the islands best. We have long served the islands and are well connected with those destinations. We have worked together with Flight Level to provide our ground services here at Norwood, and we appreciate their assistance through this introductory period. We're excited to be able to offer also a Cape Air agent who would work these flights and process and help our customers. Our most important assets are our employees, and we want to make sure that we're maintaining great customer service for all of our customers here at Norwood and always upholding a safe operation.
The initial flight schedule will be limited but could expand based on demand. The Airport Commission will meet again in June. Town Moderator Jerry Slater highlights some key articles from the annual and 2 special town meetings.
So over 3 nights, consisting of a 2-week period, town meeting members discussed, debated, and decisioned articles concerning 2 special town meeting warrants and the annual town meeting warrant. Special town meeting was completed on May 12th and primarily dealt with financial matters that needed to be addressed before beginning the annual town meeting. Creation of capital stabilization and pension reserve funds were approved during that town meeting, along with school tech, a new HR integrated hiring system, and a 1-year bridge for 3 school employees until Medicaid and Mass Health reimbursement can be completed. Including in the first special, was also a great debate between the FinCom and the Board of Selectmen around the special ed stabilization fund and how much money to put in there. In the end, in one of the most hotly contested close votes we've ever seen, the Board of Selectmen's amendment for funding was approved by town meeting. We also approved increased borrowing for the previously approved new water tank project, and that was due to an increase in cost, so that will now get underway. We also moved forward on funding several stabilization funds and reserve funds using free cash. Once the special town meeting was completed, we moved on to the annual. Most of day 2 was spent on the annual budget, which was approximately $168 million that town meeting needed to address. There were multiple questions about free cash and how the town was going to deal with, town and schools were going to deal with the structural deficit due to revenues not meeting the needs of the operating budget. Lots of discussion there, lots of input from town meeting, which was great. In the end, we ended up approving the full budget for the town, the schools, and shared costs. In a lighter moment during the annual town meeting member Brian Palmatier came up to thank the electric department for moving to online billing as opposed to mail billing. And he actually presented all the envelopes that he had been saving from the bills that he'd been receiving. I'm happy to report that Carrie McCarthy from the Senior Center actually accepted those envelopes for use by her office. We also started to address during that second night the community preservation articles, which ended up moving to the third night to be completed. There, the body ended up approving a new ADA ramp at the Ball School, which will serve Elliott Field and access to the Bernie Cooper Park, in addition to a study on the Guile Pond and a new roof replacement project at the Washington Heights housing site. In the end, a total of $750,000 in community preservation funding was approved by town meeting. Moving on to the final night of town meeting, which really concentrated on the special number 2 of town meeting, which was really a potpourri of different articles that were addressed by the members. That included adoption of provisions of the HERO Act, which will give additional property tax exemptions to our veterans, and the approval of a payment in lieu of taxes agreement for the company that is putting up the solar panels at the landfill. It also included a moment where former town moderator Dave Hearn got to pick up the gavel again for an article concerning the term of the moderator, increasing that from 1 year to 3 years. After we got through those articles, we moved on to a series of 4 zoning bylaw articles. All of these articles require a 2/3 majority vote, and all were received a lot of debate. Included there was an article that had to do with the change in the federal flood overlay districts and adopting that so our citizens can continue to receive access to federal flood insurance, along with a change to the service table for the use service table having to do with commercial kennels, and then a change to reflect what town meeting had previously approved for the Boston Providence Highway District, having to do with multifamily housing in that district. The last zoning article had to do with changing the criterion or the threshold for requiring special permits for non-conforming 1- and 2-family houses. That one, after a rather extensive debate that included the planning board chair not only presenting the article but then speaking against it as a town meeting member, was defeated by town meeting by a vote of 107 against and 48 in favor and 2 abstentions. So to wrap things up, this was a very productive town meeting with a lot of participation by our members, including our 35 new town meeting members who joined us for these sessions. It really reinstilled in all of us the tradition that was started over 250 years ago in this country of democracy for the people and by the people.
While the town is home to plenty of longtime establishments, our latest Living Local segment takes us to a true cornerstone of the community. Mazzola's Norwood Monumental Works, a family-run business that's been carving out history for an incredible 103 years.
If you've ever driven on Washington Street to head down to South Norwood, you might have noticed a store on the corner called Norwood Monumental Works, or as it's locally known, Mazzola's. One of the people carving those monuments is president and owner of the company, A.J. Mazzola.
We are a monument company, manufacturer of monuments, and we are located at 943 Washington Street. You got to go as far back as 1922. My grandfather came over from Italy and he wasn't really a carver of stone yet. He was more like an artist, so he drew. So when he first came over here, he would draw roses and sculptures and the Blessed Holy Family. And someone noticed his talent in Quincy and said, "Have you ever cut stone?" And he said, "Not really, but I'm willing to give it a try." So he took his artistic work into what they call sculpturing. And he was a hand-carved sculpturer as well as a artist for doing the design work for a monument company, all the monument companies in Quincy. So he decided to open up his own monument company, and when he did, he lost it during the Depression. So like everybody else, he struggled through that. And then when everything started to come around again, he decided to move out of Quincy and into Norwood. So then when he passed away, my father took it over and kind of restructured this place here in '72. And it's become what it kind of is today right now as you see it.
The Mazzola name has been carving stone at this location since just after the Great Depression, and despite the middle of the building catching on fire in '91 and a good portion of it falling down, nothing changed the fact that the Mazzola name has become synonymous with headstones. One thing that has changed, however, is the way monuments get carved.
Well, it's quite different today. So my grandfather was a sculpturer. My father became a shape carver, which is shaping the flowers. So in the '70s, what happened was they came up with sandblasting, and it's sand and air mix in which we carve the stones with the sandblast. So when I came into it, when I was around 14 years old, my father told me, "Don't get involved with the hand sculpturing, get involved with the sandblasting." So I became a shape carver and a letter cutter too. The computers now, I used to draw all the flowers by hand, and we would just blow them up on the side of a wall and just make them the size that you would want, and then trace them, and then rub it off, and then cut it, and then do all that stuff. Now the computer cuts it on rubber stencil for me, and then my son, who's the 4th generation, he comes in and he does all the shaping, but it's already cut out on the rubber for him. So he just has to shape the flower, put it back, and then blast it in deep. So it saves time.
You might wonder what makes Mazzolas different from the rest, and that answer lies in the workshop out back and in the hands of Mazzola and his son, Ryan.
Well, we do our own work. So most monument companies in the surrounding areas, they are monument dealers. So they will sell you the stone. We haven't created the actual stone. It came in already cut like a headstone, but we created what it looks like. And this is what everybody's interested in. This is the, from the heart type of stuff, how you design. They can personally design a headstone for their loved one from start to finish. And we want to be part of that. So how would we become part of that? By doing it. And then we have a working shed out back, and we go out back there and we pull the stones in, lie them down, and we go from start to finish. So when people come in and say they wanted to price something out, and they shop it around, and they come back and they say, "Now you tell me that you all buy your granite off the same people, but why are you $500 cheaper? Why are you $800 cheaper? What's wrong with your granite?" I said, "There's nothing wrong with my granite, but we do our own work. So I pay myself and my son a week's pay. And if we can do 20 stones in a week, I make out pretty good." So if I have to work on someone's stone for 5 hours or 5 days, it doesn't matter to me. When I give them a price, it's all included. Everything is included. Most monument dealers sub everything out, and then they have to cover that cost. So by us having that functioning shed out back, and me being able to have help like me and my son do it, that helps me be competitive against my competitors as far as if you're going to buy a headstone off of me.
While AJ estimated around 90% of Highland Cemetery is Mazzola cut stone, there is no job he will say no to, no matter how far the final resting place of your loved one may be.
I've got stones out of state. Yeah, I go all along New England. Rhode Island. It's just, we don't say no. I don't say no to a job. If someone's willing to come here, Norwood, and buy a stone for wherever they are, then I take that as, I can do that. I can make that happen. So There is no mileage limit on where I will go to install a headstone for someone.
943 Washington Street has been Mazzola's location for over 90 years. They've been in business for over 100, and Norwood has been a part of that history for just as long.
I love it. The town's just big enough. I mean, the cemetery's very large, you know, so I mean, it's a large populated town as far as I'm concerned. The experience growing up in Norwood, I grew up at the end of the street and I worked down the other end of the street, so there was no getting away from it. It was a dead-end street up here, and there was one way in, one way out. There was no not working here. And the people know us. Like for the last 16 years since Heidi Sullivan, my secretary, took over, she's like, you really don't need to do so much marketing for yourself. You've been here for 103 years. She's like, you know, your name is synonymous with headstones.
The process of picking out a headstone can be very difficult, and Mazzola's only goal is to make it easy on his customers and make them happy and satisfied with the finished product.
I like serving people. Like when people come in here, it's not a good day. They're not coming in to buy a brand new car. They're not leaving with something that's going to put a real big smile on their face. But when I'm done, they always come back and say, you've made a difficult situation easy. You know, I try to make them laugh. I try to make them get into actually picking out what they want specifically for the stone. And that brings me joy when, at the end of the day, if they told me, you know, I have to have this on the stone, it meant so much to us, and then I create it and put it on the stone, then they look at me and go, you nailed it. Like that's the ultimate feeling.
To learn more about Mazzola's Norwood Monumental Works, you can find them on Facebook, go to their website, or stop right in at 943 Washington Street.
Riverside Community Care and the Norwood Police Department continue to partner on a program that provides support to people struggling with mental health issues.
So here at Riverside Mobile Crisis, we do mental health evaluations and interventions to assess for safety and higher levels of care, and then provide the appropriate recommendations and resources as necessary. We are a 24/7 service. We're able to have people come into the office. We're able to mobile out to their homes, do telehealth, and we also accept walk-ins. Some of the things that we see people for is for suicidal ideation, for increased anxiety or depression, and things like that. We're able to kind of meet people where they're at and go from there, provide services.
Me and Kelsey work collaboratively. We wrote a grant about a year and a half ago. We were able to get a jail diversion program clinician in-house, so she's stationed here within the Norwood Police Department. She works 40 hours a week, Monday through Friday, and this allows us to go out and kind of oversee some of the mental health calls for service. Where anything that comes in, we're able to follow up in regards to people who need services. We're able to get them, and you know, the biggest thing is in a timely manner. We want to make sure that we're getting people services within a time span that works best for them and not a delayed process. We have about 65 sworn personnel. I believe last time I checked it was up about 45 to 50 officers, which would put us well over the 70%, close to 80% threshold in regards to officers who are CIT trained within the department. Chief's done a great job utilizing the services and making sure that we're all CIT trained. Obviously our calls for mental health have gone up over the past years, and so it's a big thing, and it's definitely what we're aiming for.
So what usually happens when I'm needed at a call is the officer will request me over the radio, or if we're both in the station, then I'll ride along with them in their cruiser to go out to the call. What happens when I usually get there is I'm updated by the officer about what's going on in the situation, and then I'll go and speak with the individual. And what I'm usually looking for during this evaluation is if that individual is a danger to themselves or others, if they're unable to care for themselves, or if there's any resources that I can think of that might be able to help them in their situation. If I do find in this evaluation that they are a danger to themselves or others, then I will coordinate with Riverside and the doctor that's on call that day to see if a Section 12 is needed. And if we all agree, then we will issue a Section 12. So a Section 12 is filled out when someone needs to be sent to the hospital involuntarily because they're unable to safely remain in the community. So there's those situations when a Section 12 isn't needed, but the individual still wants to hear about any resources that Riverside can provide during that exact moment. So in this case, myself and the officer will transport the individual in the cruiser to Riverside to speak with a clinician there at the Mobile Crisis Intervention Team, or MCI. And so we'll bring them inside to Riverside. I will call ahead beforehand to make sure that a clinician is available and let them know that we're coming. And so we'll bring them into MCI. And once they're sitting down with the clinician, if police support isn't no longer needed, then myself and the officer will leave them with the clinician there and we'll head out.
We can offer all different types of resources and referrals for clients. We're kind of a bridge service for most of these programs. Depending on the insurance, we could connect them with an urgent outpatient appointment intake. We also can connect people with partial programs, day programs, CCS, community crisis stabilization, and as well as just intensive outpatient programs as well. So they have their own entrance that they bring all the person serves to. So that is on the side of our building. So they don't have to go through the waiting room for outpatient in the CBHC. That way it could be full of people, and sometimes that could be uncomfortable for a lot of people. So when Officer Cedrone and or Kelsey or any officer at any time of day drops someone here, we're able to take the client into one of our interview rooms where we gather some information right from the client. If they're able to do so, we have them fill out paperwork. And while they're filling that out, we talk with the officer and or Kelsey, whoever was dropping the person off. And we get clarification on what had happened, why they were called to the scene, and if it's safe to do so, the officer will leave. We have a crisis intervention specialist who is always notified here. And they are trained specifically to deal with the walk-ins and provide support to them. So they are always notified and they're always around. So in case we do need them, they're there for additional support as well. And then we do the assessment and determine what is needed for person served.
On a monthly basis, we average probably about 15 to 20% for mental health calls related. Those can stagger anywhere between mental health, well-being checks, Section 12s, and voluntary evaluations. So anytime there is a well-being check or a voluntary evaluation, it's protocol that you call the Norwood Police Department first. We'll get there and assess, and if we do determine, it's going to be a well-being check, it turns into a voluntary evaluation, that's when we'll get Kelsey involved in our protocol and see what works best. If there is openings over at MCI, we would prefer to bring them, but there is certain criteria that they have to meet. They cannot be violent or hostile. They have to willingly, voluntarily go. And the other end is if you do have that Section 12, that's more likely when they are going to go to the hospital because it's not safe for them to be in the community. So it's a case-by-case scenario. A well-being check could be anywhere from an individual calling saying there's a person acting erratically out on the side of the road, or a well-being check could come in, could you respond, my residence, my mom, we're unable to make contact with her. A well-being check could be simply, could you go and check on an individual who suffers from some mental health issues, he's been off his medication, he's acting erratically. So well-being checks come in a wide variety of ways, and the only way to actually know what you have is to go there and assess it, talk to them, and try to come to some sort of resolution.
Any calls that are involving mental health or well-being checks that mental health is a possible factor are ones that I'll absolutely go out on. And then there's also ones where the officer will realize that an individual is either homeless or struggling with substance use. And so then I'll go out on those to speak with them to offer any resources such as shelters, inpatient or outpatient programs, or anything else that might be able to help them.
Kelsey definitely makes my job easier. She comes with a lot of experience. Having her background, she's really good. She's empathetic with people. She takes initiative, and she cares for people. And I think her biggest thing is she's really compassionate. She's understanding, and she's knowledgeable in the fact that she's willing to utilize and get people the services that they want. She follows up with people relentlessly. She's constantly being bothered by some of our officers here to conduct follow-ups and get the resources that are needed in order for our individuals within the town who do suffer from some sort of mental health issues. And I think that's her biggest attribute here within the police department. We're very grateful that we have her.
That's all for Norwood News. Stay connected with us at Norwood Community Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Have a safe and happy Memorial Day weekend.